Depth chart. So, Steve, as you mentioned to me before we started to record, Ohio State does not release a depth chart. But what indications do we get from what's been stated? And most recently, it was just Jim Knowles yesterday, along with Ryan Day, in front of the media and a few players, that gives us thought to any players playing more or less than what we had anticipated maybe a couple months ago.
Yeah, I can bring him up, and I'm interested in what Tony thinks as well. We're all kind of left to our own devices. I'm going to print one on bucknuts.com and just say it's unofficial, just a projection, whatever. Just because, fans would like to know uh, who's expected to play at the least. I think the Minnesota game last year taught us that you can take your preseason depth chart, you can, put it on a sheet of paper, then you can tear that sheet of paper in half and throw both halves away. So, it kind of went by the wayside after one. And then you had to start over from scratch after that. You're like, is Legend Cavazos, is he backing up? Is EA Gate Ote Steph Ote? Is he, where's he at in this whole thing? So yeah, it was a little nutty last year, but quarterback is pretty straightforward. Coach Day put it out there that Kyle McCord would be the backup if something were to happen to C.J. Stroud with Devin Brown number 3, and the same thing at running back, Travion Henderson number 1, Mayan Williams number 2, and Dallin Hayden may see some time as the number 3 back. No real surprises there, Tony. I wouldn't think.
No, and I have nothing to add there because it's so cut and dry. I'm interested to see with Mayan Williams and Travion Henderson. You said Travion would go first, but they're going to ride the hot hand. It's a big game, so you go with whoever ends up doing the most damage in the first, second quarter through that first half, and go with the guy who is hot and see what happens. And you could have a situation where both guys go over 100, or Mayan Williams goes over 100 because he's the hot guy.
Tight end is kind of an interesting thing. I think Cade Stover, by most people, they think he will be the starter. He was voted a team captain. And then Mitch Rossi and G. Scott Jr., I almost have those two guys bracketed as the backup. If it's a passing down and they want to throw the ball to the tight end, maybe it would be G. Scott. If it's a run down or they need the tight end to chip in pass protection, that could be Mitch Rossi. I don't know. Is that kind of how you see that as well?
Yeah, you could throw Joe Royer in there as well. I think we're going to see a lot of Mitch Rossi as that second tight end because they like that 12 personnel and they like it for blocking reasons. And you can keep Mitch Rossi in as a fullback. You can send Cade Stover out to catch the ball. So I think it's those two guys who are going to get the bulk of the snaps for tight ends, and we'll see where G. Scott and Joe Royer mix in. But I know I would like to see some G. Scott, see what he can do down the field. I think that's what everybody wants to see from him as this hybrid tight end who has moved over from wide receiver.
I don't get a real good sense of the 3 wide receivers, how you would slot them as split in flanker and slot. I would think we believe we know who the first 3 on the field are going to be. It'll be Jackson Smith-Njigba, number 11, Marvin Harrison Jr., number 18, and I think is Abuka number 2. Does that sound right?
He's wearing number 2, but it's been Julian Fleming who has started for Chris Olave the previous 2 seasons at the Z. So, I mean, he was ahead of Emeka last year. Has Emeka caught him this year? I think you've got 4 starters, and however you want to do Egbuka and Fleming, I mean, they'll flip-flop and they'll move everybody around. And Hartline said he's got 6 guys right now that he'll play, not counting Cam Babb, who's going to be out likely. So you throw in Xavier Johnson, who has worked in the slot but can play everywhere else, and then Jaden Ballard, who is a Z flanker but has learned the X to split end position as well. But Brian Hartline has taught them all, as he said, so that he can, whoever is standing next to him, he can send into a game at any position. But I think you're going to see 4 guys get the bulk of the reps and then see how many get worked in for Ballard and Xavier Johnson.
Offensive line, Paris Johnson, left tackle, Donovan Jackson, left guard, Luke Whippler, center, Matthew Jones, right guard, DeJuan Jones, right tackle. And then the backups that I've got left to right are Zen Milchowski at tackle, Enoch Vamahi at guard, Jacob James at center, Trey LaRue at guard, although it may be Christman, I'm not sure. And then Josh Fryer at right tackle? Yes. That's kind of what I was looking at as a two deep. Am I off on that, or do you sense that somebody's in there? I think the 5 starters are pretty much etched in stone.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you've got there. That's what I've had as well. And we haven't seen them in what, 2 weeks, a week and a half.
Yeah, we wouldn't know.
So,
I mean, yeah.
In terms of what we've seen, that's what we've seen. 28
years. This is the least I know about a team to start the season. That is, and I'm not even trying to be facetious or joking one bit. They have kept everybody fully at arm's length, and there are no leaks from this ship. I mean, no one's watching the practice tape this year, so illegally. So that's been a departure from last year. That's the offense.